Once again, a very good evening and welcome as we're just kicking start. Once again, I welcome to Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. It's been a very long week and we are back again on Wednesday edition of Starr Radio UK. I say thank you so much to my producer, Mr. Frank Archie, and Mr. Frank David. Once again, a very good evening as we're just kicking start. We are live in the studio and it is the Wednesday edition, the 21st of September 2022 from Ghana, from Kenya, from Nairobi. From Zanzibar, I say good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK. And that is, Mr. Popular Akibo. And as we are now just about to kickstart, I say good evening and welcome once again. And a very good evening and welcome to Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olawumi Koiki and I will be your host for tonight. The 21st of September 2022. So much has happened in the month of September. And as the month is actually winding down, there's still a lot that is going on. I'd like to say good evening once more to every single one of you that have joined us from different parts of the world. My name is Olawumi Koiki, and this evening, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be one of those evenings that we will reflect and talk about a lot of things happening, especially Nigeria. As a lot of us know, Nigeria is a country, but there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of people that are now asking questions about the authenticity of Nigeria. And my question then is, who is truly a Nigerian? Because for almost 62 years of the independence of Nigeria, and from about 108 years of the creation of Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians are now asking the question, who truly is a Nigerian? And how do we identify a Nigerian? Do we identify a Nigerian from giving birth, or if you were given birth to in that geographical location? And I use that word, a mere geographical location. We'll be discussing all that tonight. If you're watching us for the very first time, you probably have not been following Starr Radio UK, and that literally means that you are not. Bear with me, there's quite a lot of movement here. That literally means that you probably don't know much about what we do on a Wednesday edition from the studio. This is where we look and review, we talk about things, issues, and especially we talk about, some of the problems that is being affected by millions of Nigerians. But as Nigeria is getting ready for 2023, we now also have a lot of movement that is going around Nigeria that the media in Nigeria are probably not talking about. 7 minutes past 1800 hours. And I always say, if you're joining us, this is Starr Radio UK. On your smartphone. I say welcome for those of you that are joining us for the very first time. Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide. Once again, my name is Olami Koike, and I have a lot to discuss tonight. And some of what we're going to be discussing has got to do with, do we still think that we are going to continue as part of the member of the Commonwealth, knowing fully well that after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, there's a lot of conversation that is out there in the public domain that has to do with some of what took place during the colonial era. Should we forget about all that? Or should we continue to question what took place during the colonial era? A lot of people are saying that we can move on because things does happen, and whatever has happened during the colonial era, we should just move on with the situation that we are presently at the moment. And I say that, how do we forget our past, knowing fully well that the past is what actually helped the present? If a lot of people are saying that we should forget what actually happened, during the slave trade, what happened during the, the colonial era, during the empire of the British in most of African countries, including what we called Nigeria, then we will probably not be able to resolve a lot of issues that is still lingering across Nigeria today. When you are giving birth in Nigeria, you automatically believe that you are Nigerian or you are a Nigerian until you start to question the history of the name Nigeria itself. And I have a letter that our father that also represent the Yoruba during this self-determination movement that has been written to President Muhammadu Buhari is currently at the United Nations 77th General Assembly as we speak right now. But there is a lot of questions that people are now asking. Good evening to those of you that have joined us on the Starr Radio UK, all the social media handle, and I welcome you once again to Niger Voices. This is a program that comes up every Wednesday, and we look at issues, we talk about, all kind of things, especially as Nigerians are saying that there is issues in Nigeria. My question then is, who is truly a Nigerian? Nigeria and the Commonwealth, should we continue to remain in one Commonwealth or should we opt out? That is the question I'm asking us tonight. Should we continue to remain as a Commonwealth citizen or should we opt out? I want to take your view and your opinion on that tonight on Naija Voices. Once again, I'd like to appreciate my producer, Mr. Frank, Mr. Archie, that are working tirelessly every evening. Let me quickly say good evening to those of you that have joined us. Amzat Asfis, good evening to you. Adewale Saeed, good evening. Ayola Rashid, good evening. Michael Obaba Awe, good evening. Walex Salami, good evening. Maze Gold, good evening. Fumilayo Oludunise, good evening to you. And I'll continue to welcome every one of you. Let's go to the YouTube. I say good evening to you, Prince Abimbola. Good evening from White Lion. Well done. Good evening to you, Muiwa Osinuga. And as I always say, the world has actually changed, that we can no longer live in denial. The Commonwealth is still working for every single one of us. My question is, who benefit from Commonwealth? Is it the citizen of the Commonwealth? Good evening to you, Jami Ibrahim. And good evening to you, Jimmy Koya. Good evening to you if you're watching from all over the world. Who actually is benefiting from the Commonwealth? That is a question. Should we remain as citizens of Commonwealth or should we say we shouldn't and we move on? Good evening to you, Mickey Babs, Michael Robinson, Fumilayo, good evening to you. Good evening to you, Api Rashid, and good evening to you, Shola Fashola. Good evening to you, Emmanuel Adeni Tose. School player, good evening to you. Abizo, good evening to you. Oladege, good evening to you. Ayodele Talk Show, good evening to you. And good evening to you as you are all joining from all over the world. My question again is, should we remain as a Commonwealth citizen? What do we know about Commonwealth? What do we understand as Commonwealth? I mean, we have Commonwealth game that was just concluded not too long ago. We've been members of Commonwealth from what we are told, but are we benefiting anything as a Commonwealth citizen? As of today, if you look at the countries of Commonwealth, I'm going to give you all the names of those countries shortly. I have a picture in front of me, 1962. Her Majesty the Queen with the Commonwealth Heads of Government, 1962. That was 2 years after the independence of Nigeria. The Commonwealth Prime Minister meeting London, United Kingdom. I have another one here, Her Majesty the Queen with the Commonwealth of Government in 1969. In 1986, Her Majesty the Queen and the Commonwealth Secretary, the General Shildrat and Raphael with leaders, Commonwealth Head of Government at a meeting in London. What has been the benefit of being part of Commonwealth? I'd like to get some of your views on that. And my question is, I can see the former President Olusegun Obasanjo right in one of the pictures that I've got here in front of me. This was in 2003. Again, 2003, His Royal Majesty the Queen with the Commonwealth Head of Government in Abuja, precisely in Nigeria. Who is benefiting from being part of the Commonwealth family? Should we continue to be a member of the Commonwealth? How many of you know the countries of Commonwealth? Let me go through some of the names. In Africa, we still have Botswana, we have Cameroon, we have Gabon, we have Gambia, we have Ghana, we have Kenya, we have the Kingdom of Eswatini, we have Lesotho, we have Malawi, we have Mauritius, we have Sierra Leone, we have South Africa, we have Togo, Uganda, United Republic of Tanzania, we have Zambia, And likewise, once again, a very good evening and welcome. We have Mozambique, we have Namibia, we have Nigeria, we have Rwanda, we have Seychelles. Let's look at the Asian country. We still have Bangladesh, Brunei, Darussalam, we have India, Malaysia, Maldives, Pakistan, Singapore, Sri Lanka. Let's look at the Caribbean and Americans. We have Antigua and Barbados. We have Bahamas, Barbados, Belize. We have Canada. We have Dominica. We have Grenada. We have Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis. We have St. Vincent and Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. In Europe, we have Cyprus. We have Malta. We have the United Kingdom. In Pacific, we have Australia. We have Fiji. We have Kiribati. We have Nauru. We have New Zealand. We have Papua New Guinea. We have Samoa. We have Solomon Island. We have Tonga. We have Tuvalu. And we have Vanuatu. What is the benefit of these members of the Commonwealth? And who is benefiting from that? Once again, this is...
Welcome. This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
It is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I'm continuing to talk about independent countries make up the Commonwealth. My question, good evening to you, Dari Samuel. Welcome on board. Good evening to all our Yoruba nation and self-determination warriors. Good evening to all the Biafrans. Good evening to those in the northern part of Nigeria. Good evening to the Middle Belt. And like I always say, there's a lot going on in Nigeria. 18 minutes past 18. And I'm asking the question again. Who is benefiting from Commonwealth? Good evening to you, Adeosun Oladele Fagbaye Alao. Good evening to you. Adebanjo Sunday, good evening to you. And like I keep saying, what is the gain of Commonwealth? Kini and Fani, Commonwealth. For those that probably would like us to speak in our local language, that is one of the most beautiful languages in the world. Yoruba is a beautiful language. Kini and Fani, Omo Yoruba. Kini and Fani, ẹni tó wà nínú Nigeria. What is the benefit that we have gaining, or we are gaining, or we have gained being part of Commonwealth? Good evening to you, Kenny Ritchie. Prince Latif Dele, good evening to you. Jamil Ibrahim, good evening to you. Shitu Fatima, good evening to you all. My name is Olawumi Koike, and I'll be taking you through the program tonight. As a lot of us are now campaigning and asking that, should we now review the authenticity of who is a true Nigerian? I've listened carefully to Goodluck Jonathan Ebele, and I'm going to be playing exactly what Jonathan says in just about a few minutes. Once again, I welcome you to Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. As we continue to monitor the situation in Nigeria, there's quite a lot of uncertainty. I was looking at the report this morning while I was speaking to the studio. Nigerians continue to remain at home because the government refused to have conversation with the lecturers. So that means more Nigerians are probably will not be going to school anytime soon. So my question then is, should we remain as one Nigeria going into election, or should we say enough is enough? Nigerians now have just rejected court ruling asking ASU to suspend strike. Democracy, good idea, but has limitation. This is Buhari speaking. Social media influencers are now more powerful than the global policy makers. This is Buhari. Some of what he said during the speech at the United Nations General Assembly, the 77th. As I continue to say, who is truly a Nigerian, and how do we identify the person known as a Nigerian. Let me quickly give you what Buhari says at the United Nations. You're more than welcome, my brother, Dari Samuel. It's my pleasure. For those of you that have received your beautiful, and I guess I should have one here in the studio, and let me just show it. This is our beautiful courtesy of, what we've been distributing back home. Very beautiful. And some of you have received yours. Some of you have not received it, but I'm sure in time you will receive it. Good evening to all our listeners from around every part of Africa, wherever you are, in Uganda, in South Africa. We'd like to welcome you, and we say, this is Starr Radio UK. I want to really talk about the Commonwealth, and likewise, the election that is coming. Who is going to benefit from the election that is also coming? I'm going to be talking about what Buhari said during his speech. We thought he was going to be speaking tomorrow, but it seems that has actually changed. Kenny Ritchie said, no, we don't want one Nigeria, we want Yoruba, we are tired. Sunday Afolabi said, whenever I think of this contraction called Nigeria, I feel so bad because year in, year out, why they're wasting our time sticking to Nigeria, I reject it. Oh, Yoruba nation now. Good evening to you, Abiodun Oresonya. Ogumo Yeshon, good evening. Olateju Christina Oyebimpe, good evening to every single one of you. Pastor Mo also says, and I quote here, I don't know the benefit of a Commonwealth to any Yoruba citizen. If you are benefiting, you shouldn't be locked up in Britain endlessly for lack of visa. As a Commonwealth citizen, you are not allowed to come to UK until a visa is approved from United Kingdom for those of you that want to travel to UK. Good evening to you, Kudus Agbabiaka. And good evening to you, Ishola Olalekan. As I want to play these, I have about a couple of videos that I'm going to allow us to listen to. You're going to listen to Bill Clinton. He spoke about the problems, everybody wants to be free. We're going to listen again as well to Anaya Ugu that spoke after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. We will listen to Jonathan as well. So quite a lot of things to listen to. So let us start with the good luck Ebele Jonathan and what he has to say.
We're having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement. Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This accredited to Sir Ahmadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is
Okay, we had him there, and I'm gonna play that later. We had him right there properly, and that was the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And it's almost the same content that Professor Banji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, wrote to President Muhammadu Buhari. And I'm going to read that later. And likewise, then I take you to what the President Muhammadu Buhari, the Nigerian president, spoke during his presentation at the 77th General Assembly at the United Nations. This is the content of the letter. President Muhammadu Buhari, dear Mr. President, the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, YSDM, respectfully write this letter to you for and on behalf of the indigenous Yoruba people of the southwest of Nigeria, inclusive of the Yoruba citizens of the 6th state of the Yoruba Southwest Zone, Ekiti, Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Kogi, Kwara, and Delta, all south of the Middle Belt River in Nigeria. The Yoruba Self-Determination Movement is a movement comprising well over 100 Yoruba self-determination organizations based at home and in the Yoruba homeland. In Nigeria and abroad in most countries of the world. The Yoruba Self-Determination Movement collaborate, they said, many Yoruba self-determination organizations in the highest services of the Yoruba self-determination agitation and struggle. My question before I go into a little bit more of this letter is, now that the Yorubas are asking that, there's a problem, we don't want to be part of Nigeria and we want to exit Nigeria, are we also going to say we will continue to probably have relationship with the British government under a Yoruba nation and a Commonwealth citizen? Or should we say we are not just going to be part of Nigeria, likewise we do not want to be part of the Commonwealth? Should we remain as a citizen of the Commonwealth or should we opt out? Mr. President, the Yoruba self-determination movement now serves you a notice of the decision of the Yoruba people to accept their right to self-determination, which right of self-determination is inalienable, unquestionable right of every indigenous nation in the world, and which right is enshrined in many international instruments that provide for the system of order of the modern world. Upon asserting this right of self-determination, we Yoruba nation shall be free to determine our political status, pursue our economic, social, and cultural development according to policy chosen independently by us, and to live under the government independently chosen and ordered by us. I want you to listen to Bill Clinton before we go again into what Buhari said at this ongoing conversation. Sorry about that. Let's get the Bill Clinton one up again for us. This is Bill Clinton.
Our historical memory includes the notion that your greatest days were under Ivan, Peter the Great, and Catherine the Great. In other words, when you could control your neighbors. And people don't want to be controlled anymore. They want to be free to chart their own course. I'll never forget the first time a man with impeccable military credentials, the warden of Rhodes House, who was Admiral of Viscount Montgomery's aide to camp in World War II, said, you're going to have to leave Vietnam. For the same reason we had to leave Nigeria. We left Nigeria, it was a horrible war, 3 million people died, but we had to go, and you're going to have to go. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want to be controlled. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People, they don't want you. And I said, why? He said, because want to chart their own course. They have to feel secure in their own identity.
People want to chart their own course. I just read a comment here from Kenny Ritchie, and Kenny Ritchie actually said, and I quote, once again, a very good evening to you, and as you join us from all over the world, I welcome you once again to Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Kenny Ritchie, I just want to pick up the comment that I got from Kenny Ritchie right there. And actually, Kenny Ritchie was saying that, moreover, I don't think we're going to have any relationship with the British or the Commonwealth unless it's going to favor the Yorubas. Are we? Good evening to you, Adeosun Timothy, and welcome once again to Niger Voices. Terry Amalade, very good evening to you. Before I go to the next video, let's quickly talk about what President Muhammadu Buhari said during the conversation at the United Nations General Assembly. Social media influencers now more powerful than the global policy maker. This is President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. Buhari added that world power must come together to defend freedom of speech while uploading other values that we cherish. And I hope during the Yoruba mega rally that is coming up very soon, President Muhammadu Buhari will allow freedom of speech. What an interesting time to be alive. Let's go a little bit into it. President Muhammadu Buhari has acknowledged the growing influencer of the social media on the global politics, urging world leader powers to rally and protect freedom of speech. Do you think that you have freedom of speech in Nigeria? Daddy Yatta is nowhere to be found. He was actually kidnapped from somewhere in Nigeria more than 2 years, and nobody knows where he is. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped by President Muhammadu Buhari's government from Kenya, rendition back, kept in the custody of the DSS, and his health is now deteriorating. Is that a freedom? Yet we have all kinds of terrorists that are walking across the country in Nigeria, kidnapping, taking ransom, and even using people as slaves. President Muhammadu Buhari commented at the general debate of the United Nations General Assembly today while addressing climate change policy and initiative. There was a time when most important event at this assembly was the speech by world most powerful leaders. Now, a tweet or Instagram post by an influencer on social media or environmental issues may have greater impact. And I'm going to give you one of that. There was a tweet that came out after the death of Queen Elizabeth II in London. And that tweet literally generated a lot of conversation. And that tweet was from nobody else from Uju Anya. Who is she? A PhD of a university and a research applied linguistics and critical social linguistics. Dr. Uju Anya actually sent out a tweet after the death of Queen Elizabeth II in London. And that tweet literally generated so much conversation that even the owner of Amazon had no other option than to also comment on the tweet. I mean, imagine that you sent out a tweet on your Twitter handle, and the owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, actually also tweeted on that as well. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London as we continue to give you all the latest updates coming out of Nigeria. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I continue to be your host tonight for the program. The tweet was so powerful that almost everyone had something to say after the tweet came out. And my question again is, should we remain as part of the Commonwealth, or should we opt out? Once again, Star Radio UK. My name is Olami Koiki, and I'm going to be taking you through all the conversation up to 8:30 tonight. Like I said, Dr. Ugu Anaya sent out a tweet, and our tweet generated a lot of conversation across the social media. And probably that is why President Muhammadu Buhari is saying that social media influencers are more powerful when they send out one tweet. Good evening to you, Sunday Akisoya. Good evening to you, Yeyoge. Good evening to you, GB Alimi. And as you all join, my question that we're asking tonight on Star Radio UK is, should we continue to be part of Commonwealth, Nigeria and the Commonwealth, in or out? What do you think? Should we remain as a member of the Commonwealth, or should we opt out? Oladejo David, good evening to you and welcome. Good evening to those of you on the Instagram. As I say, this is Star Radio. This is Star Radio UK. Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us. Sorry for those of you on Star Radio UK. I think I didn't realize that my mic was completely down. Sorry so much. I've just checked my device. Thank you so much, Prince Abimbola. I didn't realize that the mic was completely down. All along I was speaking. We do apologize for that. And I guess you can hear me loud and clear now. Thank you so much once again, Sammy Solo, for that.
At work, a smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK. Thank you so much once again. If you've been watching and listening to us in the last probably maybe few minutes, I guess my audio was actually muted. I do apologize for that. For those of you that are listening and watching us on all our social media on the Star Radio UK, and I believe we are back now with the audio. Thank you so much once again. My name is Ola Yomi Koike, and as I'm taking you through the stages, the steps, and I want us to listen carefully. After the tweet of Dr. Anaya, this is what ended up as well. And I want us to go through this together. She actually granted an interview, and this is what she had to say during that interview. Let's listen to this together. I come back again, and I'm sure my mic won't be muted.
From the country that the British Empire had imposed on us, which was this country of Nigeria, where they kind of took a bunch of independent nations who don't have anything to do with each other, don't even speak each other's language, don't relate. Many of them were even enemies and warring at the time, smushed them all together and drew these arbitrary lines around them and called them countries and named those countries.
Right.
And it said, now y'all get along and do a country for us and be a union for us. And then go through, contentious, bloody independence processes that never really yield any real independence. You're still part of a Commonwealth afterwards.
Sure.
And you have the eternal meddling in your affairs and the eternal extraction of your resources and the eternal fomenting of divisiveness and infighting in order to be able to control you. This is what an oppressor does, a colonizer does. These are tactics and strategies of dominance.
Right.
We were subjected to that as a larger unit of Nigeria. And then when the Igbo people said, we want our own thing, let's go and do that. Well, it so happened to be that the territory that this new country of Biafra was going to be in included very, very rich oil reserves.
Mm.
And the British were not going to let go of that.
Wow.
And the people that they had put in power, their puppet Nigerian governments, weren't going to do that either because they needed it for the Nigerian project.
Right.
And for its own interests and uses. So Great Britain got directly involved in this civil war and in the war for independence, and decided that they would do everything to make sure that Biafra did not go.
Wow.
And this everything meant directly funding genocide of the people of Biafra.
Wow, the genocide of the people of Biafra. You actually listen to her, and I'm sure a lot of you will be like, wow. This again is good evening to you, Elijah Musrat, all the way from Manchester. A very good evening to you, Sunday. Abisodo, good evening to you, Arishikola, Jeremiah, Okpeyemi, Idowu Michael. Good evening to you as well. You say, Mr. Koiki, if it is possible for us as Yoruba nation, we don't have any reason to go with this British again. Thank you so much as you all watching. Good evening to you, Prince Abimbola, once again. And that was Dr. I'm going to play all these again. When I've been following the conversation after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, there's a lot of good evening to you, Aziz, all the way in Miami. Good evening to you. The mega rally is coming very soon. I'll be discussing all that, for the benefit of those of you as well that have been watching, Star Radio UK. Good evening to you. Let's quickly say good evening to you. Mrs. Esther, Yoruba National going back on Instagram. Good evening to you. Those of you that have joined us, Clement2315, good evening to you on Instagram. And those of you that have joined us on all the platforms. Let me speak a bit of my dialect. Ìbéèrè tí mò ń béèrè lálẹ́ yìí, fáǹfààní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, òun ni pé ǹjẹ́ ṣé ká ṣì wà pẹ̀lú Commonwealth àbí ká opt out? Nigeria and Commonwealth, what is the relationship to an average Nigerian, not Obasanjo, not our politicians that have access to get to UK, but the average Commonwealth citizen? Because from what we are told, that we are part of Commonwealth countries. What is the benefit? Kila Mfane is the question I'm asking tonight. Amzad Razak, good evening to you. Yom Tu, good evening to you. Abiola Oluode, good evening to you. Also, Olu Akins TV, Yoruba Nation Recognition, good evening to you. Once again, good evening to you, Aziz, all the way in Miami. And those of you that have joined us for the very first time, I say,
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
once more,
Welcome.
if you're joining me for the very first time, this is,
Welcome.
once again,
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
Radio UK.
did you get that?
This is Star Radio UK. In the world.
We are all around the world. How do you follow us? You can download our apps on Star Radio UK from the App Store on your Google or your App Store on the Play Store. You can also follow us on our website, www.starradiouk.com. And that also gives you access to what the presenter discuss, news and almost everything that you need to know. But also, you can also make sure you follow us on our social media handle, where we have a lot of conversation that is going on, across on our Twitter at Star Radio UK. So I want to know how many of you will be following us tonight. We have 642 followers on our Twitter. How many of you are going to follow us on Twitter tonight? How many people? Follow us on Twitter. How many of you have Twitter account? Because Buhari said something, and I don't think some of you understand the magnitude of what President Muhammadu Buhari have said there. The power of the social media can change the narratives that we want, especially those of us that are clamoring for the calling of the Yoruba nation and the Biafra nation. We must continue to use the social media to deliver our message, because that is the only way. Channels television is not going to give you access. TVC is not going to give you access. All the media in Nigeria will not give you the platform to communicate your message, not even the print media. So if you want to know everything about what I do on Star Radio UK from Monday to Friday, you need to follow us on Twitter. So I'm going to be monitoring that tonight. Have you also donate money to the Ominira account and the Yoruba Central account? I'll be discussing all that on Star Radio UK tonight. Also remember to follow the Yoruba World Media. That is where you get all the news, the information about the Yoruba self-determination. Also, if you want to be part of many of these, just make sure you call the right people, and I'm sure you'll get the message. should Akonji, all the way in Kenya, good evening to you. I was actually watching a video clip that Akonji sent to me from Zanzibar. And if you look at their transportation system on the water, you will ask the question, how did we arrive in giving the transportation system to an individual in Lagos State? You would expect that the Lagos State government should be the one to take care of the transportation system, but they are not doing so.
This is Starr Radio UK.
9,
This is Starr Radio UK.
7, 6,
This is Starr Radio UK.
Once again, you would expect the transportation. Watching all the way from Dubai. Thank you so much, Omobolaji. Yawa Ademola Yetunde JP says, I am following you on Twitter already. Wow, very good. Thank you so much. How many of you will be following us on Starr Radio UK Twitter? That is the only way you will know when I'm live. That is the only way you will know when I'm joining them in the morning for the morning breakfast show. Good evening to you, Mickey Babs. I'll be reading some of your comments. Keep the comment flowing, and I'll be reading them from all the platforms as well. Ronti Bello, good evening to you, and thank you once again for those of you that were very, very patient. While I was speaking, I actually lost the audio for about a few minutes, but we are back now with our sound. Good evening to you, Amzat Afis, Adewale Said, good evening to you, Ayola Rashid, good evening to you once again. As I say, good evening once to you all on our platform. Oluwapi says, I'm following you too, sir. Okay. Grace Olushoto, beautiful evening, Olayomiko Ike White Lion, king of the media, and everyone on board tonight. Surely time will tell if Yoruba Nation to join Commonwealth or not after declaration. Should we think? Do you think that we should after our exit from Nigeria? A lot of people are like, okay, how do you exit out of Nigeria? Nigeria is a sovereign country, there's no doubt, but there's something that I'm going to read to us tonight, which also gives us, this information that was adopted in 1960. Some of you from other countries that are also clamoring for your self-determination might probably want to look into this document. It is called the Declaration on Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and People. This was adopted on the 14th of December 1960 at the General Assembly Resolution 1514. This is
Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it on?
Are you ready to turn it on? Are you ready to turn it on? Once again,
welcome.
if you're joining me for the very first time.
Good morning show.
I welcome you once again. Okay, can you read it out loud, please? I will be reading it out definitely tonight for the benefit of those that are also clamoring for their independence out of whatever country they are. As we appreciate every single one of you. Taiwo Samuel 007 on Twitter, good evening to you and every single one of you. Let me read this comment as well on Twitter by Clement2315. If Nigeria remain Commonwealth, not our business. We Yoruba don't have to be part of that anymore. Wow, I love that. And as a lot of you know, that is my own view, not literally the view of Starr Radio UK. I believe that Nigeria is no longer working, and we need to gradually allow the Yorubas to exit out of Nigeria. Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us on Starr Radio UK. Bear with me as we continue to say, it is our responsibility to continue to educate our people back home. It is our own responsibility to tell those at home that if you want an election, it is your right, and nobody can take that right from you. But one thing is, the unity of Nigeria is now being questioned by so many indigenous people. Everybody is now asking, who is a Nigerian? And I want us again to listen one more time to what the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, had to say. Let's listen to that again right now.
We've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement. Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Ahmadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is...
Well, you have him right there, and that is, the former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan that just spoke right there. Once again, I say to those of you that have joined us, this is for you.
Welcome.
It is a welcome if you are joining me for the very first time on Starr Radio UK. Should we continue to be part of Commonwealth, or should we opt out? A lot of people are saying that Nigeria, as the election is getting closer, the campaign, we can see the PDP are fighting, the APC are probably also, trying their best. The Labour Party are saying that we can change the narratives and we can make Nigeria a better place for every single one of us. And my question is, are we sure that we can save Nigeria? Do you think that Nigeria can still be saved with the situation that we have at the moment? And if Nigeria cannot be saved, what should we be doing, in terms of, the expectation? And this is the question that I'm trying to figure out. But as we all know, it seems already that so many people that are now asking questions to the unity of Nigeria. Should we remain a Nigerian and a member of the Commonwealth? Or should we opt out of Nigeria and decide a negotiation or reunion with the Commonwealth as a different citizen as against Nigeria? Let me take us back to the letter that is now about 10 days from today. Well, almost 9 days. 9 days from today, the letter that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari by the Yoruba self-determination movement is going to expire. What next? And what do you think is going to happen? Remember that this content of the letter is just a formal notice to the president. That the overwhelming majority of our Yoruba nation and people to exercise their right to self-determination, to have their own independent and sovereign country separated from Nigeria. Do you think that President Muhammadu Buhari is going to really say much on that? Like I said, I've been following what he said at the United Nations. Mr. President added that the world power must come together to defend freedom of speech while upholding other values that we cherish. Do you think that this government cherish the value of Nigerians? Because what we saw is this government came in 2015, giving false hope to millions of Nigerians that things will be better. But today, not just the economy of Nigeria is gone, we also have terrorism all over the country. The Nigerian debt continues to rise. The situation is becoming tough for an average Nigerian. President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has been shrinking of the civil space due to multiple infringement of freedom of speech. This is a government that does not give respect to freedom of speech, but is gone to United Nations and saying that we should allow freedom of speech. Do you agree as well, with President Muhammadu Buhari? Do you agree? Or are you of the same view like myself that this is a government that continue to disrespect the value system of an average Nigerian? Mr. Idowu Michael say Buhari will never reply this letter. I'm quite sure about that, Mr. Koike. Do you think that President Muhammadu Buhari will respond to this letter that was put out by the leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement? Let us take you back to one of the tweets that the president sent out that then made Twitter to completely ban the president Twitter handle. How many of us remember that tweet? Last year, the federal government now also announced the suspension of Twitter. And this is the same president is going now to say, let me read that back again. President Muhammadu Buhari added that world power must come together to defend freedom of speech. Do you think that this president that allowed Nigerians to be killed during the Lekki toll gate, Oyigbo massacre, as we speak right now, the Nigerian government continue to kill and maim and destroy the Southeast. But yet, the president has gone to United Nations 77th Assembly to defend freedom of speech. And likewise, talking about the value that we cherish. Do you think that the APC cherish the value of an average Nigerian that is not going to school since February, but yet the president's wife had to travel to London to celebrate with the in-law that is just graduating from the university? What kind of country is Nigeria? What kind of value system is a country that cares less about 33 million thereabout Nigerians? I want to get that very well. I gave that update this morning while I was giving an update to the studio. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. Kebbi Emir begs the British government to return stolen artifacts. Almost everybody is saying that they should return the artifacts. I think it's about 15 million children out of school. Let's get that information out. Well, 15 million child labor in Nigeria. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to those of you that have joined us across the globe. Yes, I've got that information. President Muhammadu Buhari is talking about value system, freedom. I'm going to go back to the reason why it was the federal government suspended Twitter, because something was said. Good evening to you once again, Aziz, all the way in Miami. 15 million Nigerian children are laborers under President Muhammadu Buhari's regime of the APC government. Did you hear what I just said? 15 million. If you're watching me from any part of the world, today, Nigeria has 15 million of children that are being used for child labor. Ono Adebola says Nigeria is a Fulani company. Good evening to you, Olani. Once again, good evening to every single one of you that have joined us, and I'll continue to read all your comments. Adewuyi says bad country. You also say things is getting worse. It's not even getting better. Once again, a very good evening to every single one of you. Taufik says, well done, Mr. Koike. No going back, Yoruba Nation now. Sami Solo, thank you so much once again, brother. As we continue, Nigeria is a non-degree fact. Pastor Mo says, ask him to define his own freedom of speech. Grace says, Mama Grace says, there is no Messiah that can fix Nigeria anymore. The best is separation. Pastor Mo says, Buhari's children graduating from UK, Buhari is the president of Nigeria. They abandoned the university. What a shame. Imagine the UK Prime Minister's son taken to Ahmadu Bello University. Imagine the outrage that will be in the United Kingdom. Good evening to you once again, to those of you that have joined us. And if you're joining us for the first time, I say,
welcome.
One more time.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
We're broadcasting 24/7, and I'll continue to monitor our Twitter handle on Starr Radio UK, which is STARRADIO. Remember to put the UK, and let's see how many people will follow us on the Starr Radio UK Twitter. Wow, about 2 people have joined us, which is not very bad. Remember that the influence of the social media is all that get the message down there. So the more you follow the Starr Radio UK, the more you can know what I'm doing every Monday to Friday. Ido Michael say, Mr. Koike, if we are still waiting for all these terrorist groups of people, I bet with you they wouldn't reply. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead, do the necessity, or do Agbewa. And I believe he's talking about this letter that I'm still reading out to us. Let's go into the letter a little bit more. Remember that we have 9 more days. Is President Muhammadu Buhari going to respond to this letter? Is this government going to respond? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But according to what we have here, upon asserting this right of self-determination, we Yoruba nation shall be free to determine our political status and pursue our economic, social, and cultural development. Consequently, Mr. President, this letter on behalf of all our Yoruba people formally gives you notice of the decision of the overwhelming majority of our Yoruba nation and people to exercise our right to self-determination, to have our independent and sovereign country separated from Nigeria. Number 2, formally informs you that we desire to commence this process of self-determination officially so as to establish our independent, sovereign country as soon as possible, hopefully in a constructive dialogue with the government. This is where I want to pin my question now. Do you think that the federal government of Nigeria will dialogue with the Yoruba people that are campaigning and asking for self-determination? Ìbéèrè tí mò ń béèrè in my local language for the benefit of our listeners. Ǹjẹ́ President Muhammadu Buhari àbíjọba ẹ̀? I got where the sound is coming from. Sorry about that. I was able to rectify the sound. Ǹjẹ́ President Muhammadu Buhari ìjọba ẹ̀, ǹjẹ́ ó máa dá wa lóhùn láti jẹ́ kí a ṣe àkójọpọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìjọba ẹ̀ pé àwa ọmọ Yorùbá a fẹ́ dá dúró kúrò nínú Nigeria? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think that the federal government of Nigeria will dialogue with the Yoruba Nation self-determination movement? I want to read some of your comments out. Please keep the comment coming. Official, so good evening to you as you're all joining us on different platforms. And if you're joining us once again,
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
All around the world.
The best radio show.
Do you hear that?
The best radio show.
Do you think that the federal government would dialogue with the Yoruba self-determination? Is my question I'm asking tonight. Do you think that the federal government will dialogue with the Yoruba nation self-determination?
The best radio.
Once again, a very good evening. Let's read some of your comment quickly. Keep this comment coming. Oloyede says, I don't think they would dialogue with the Yoruba self-determination. Okay. That's number one. How many people think that the federal government would dialogue with the Yoruba nation? Pastor Mo said, I don't think his leopard can change his skin. Buhari is a sadist. Keep the comment coming. Ayodele says, ongoing, no going back. I believe you want to ride. Nigeria kò ṣiṣẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè Yoruba. And let's get my second track ready, which is going to be Orílẹ̀-èdè. And that is from Janet. My question again is, do you think that the federal government would allow the Yoruba to go? Yoruba nation now.
The best radio show.
Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK. This is my second track for the evening. I'll say once again to my producer, Mr. Frank David, Mr. Archie Amon, and the rest of the team, all the technical crew that are working behind the scene, I say good evening. Tomorrow is a property hour, but for now, this is called Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK every Wednesday. Do you think that the federal government will dialogue with the Yoruba nation self-determination? Medina Temitapo said they will never answer us. All we need is a declaration. No time to waste. Yoruba nation now. Let's keep the comment coming. I'll be reading them out. Do you think, because in this letter that I have here, written by Professor Banji Akintoye to the federal government on the August 6th, is going to elapse on the 9th, on 9 days from today, on the September the 30th, not more than a day. It says, and I quote, formally to inform you that we desire to commence this process of self-determination officially so as to establish our independent and sovereign country as soon as possible. Hopefully, in a constructive dialogue with the government of Nigeria. My question is, do you think that the federal government will dialogue with the Yoruba nation? Good evening to my beautiful mother. I say welcome to Starr Radio UK. I left her before making my way to the studio. I say good evening once more and welcome to Starr Radio UK Niger Voices. Ǹjẹ́ ìjọba Nàìjíríà máa jẹ́ kí wọ́n jókòó papọ̀ pẹ̀lú Yorùbá self-determination? Òun ni ìbéèrè tí mò ń bi gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lálẹ́. Some of you might be like, what language is that? It's called Yoruba language. Yoruba nation is Agege Mega Rally is going ahead as planned. Agege Mega Rally in Lagos is going ahead as planned. California Rally is going ahead as planned on the 25th. And there's still the ongoing Yoruba Nation Mega Rally in front of the United Nations building. According to Oluremi, Buhari, aka Buhari, would never reply to the letter, not to talk of any constructive dialogue. Okay, keep it coming. Olusegun Olaitan said they will never answer us. All we are waiting for is declaration. Keep it coming. Prince Abimbola, the country is not united, so we should go our separate way. My question is the federal government going to dialogue for our peaceful exit from Nigeria? Let's keep it coming. Grace Oyeyemi said, Nigerian government will never dialogue with Yoruba nation. Let our nation be declared. Okay. Good evening to you, Additional Taiwo, I foresee that the huge rally will force a dialogue. If it turns to be civil disobedience, otherwise we will. Omo Yoruba Edide, how do you expect the Fulani to give up their pot of soup? The answer is capital no. Additional says, otherwise, we will be silent forever. Anna Wilson, referendum will soon come. Another ethnic group in Nigeria will also ask for it. Soon escalated riot unrest will lead to the interim government, elected leader, and the party division. Should we have to go through all that when this letter says we want to do it peacefully?
The best radio show.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Do you think that the federal government will dialogue with the Yoruba self-determination? It's coming up to 12 minutes past 7 p.m. London. And as we continue to say, may the soul of Queen Elizabeth II rest in peace. What do you think is going to be the work of King Charles III on the Commonwealth? Owo Labi Adams say, well, with a thumbs up, I say thank you so much. Should you drizzy fresh 1, 2, 3? Declaration is what we want. Victoria Johnson, Nigerian government put hope on MC Oluomo Fulanis. All of them are under the shoe of God. Forward, Yoruba, go. Grace says, excuse me, is Nigeria a country or dustbin where all rubbish taken and valueless things are kept for disposal? 15 million Nigerian children are being used for labor. Are you ready to turn it on as I am turning it on here right now in the studio? Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Niger Voices as we are now taking you through the second segment. Should we open the phone line? Should we hear some from of you? Check our phone call. And those of you that are friends of Nigerians, do you think that as a country that wants to opt out of a country, would there be a peaceful dialogue? Let's pause that beautiful music by Sister Janet Adekola. You can listen to her on our YouTube account known as Janet Voice Adekola. Remember to subscribe as well. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and if you are just passing through, and you've good evening to you, Mrs. Rukayat Amawumi. Good evening to you at Mickey Babs. Azi Oluwale say, God gives us our nation ASAP. Ìbéèrè tí mò ń béèrè lálẹ́ òun ni pé ṣé Nigerian government máa dialogue pẹ̀lú wa? I'm asking the question and I want you to help me to answer that. On the Twitter, I don't think so, but we can strategize for exit after the ultimatum grace. Okay, this is somebody, D_, their real norm. They didn't even acknowledge it is a delayed start. Remember that my producer, during the morning show, I guess yesterday, asked the question, in Nigerian government, did the federal government receive this letter? I'm asking the question, what do you think? I mean, we were told that the letter was sent to Abuja, but do you think that the federal government received the letter officially? I'm talking about the president himself, President Muhammadu Buhari. What do you think? Yomi Tove says the Fulanis won't acknowledge that letter. Buhari will pretend as if he never got the letter. So what should we do? What do you think we can do in this process where the government says, I did not receive your letter? Yes, you sent the letter by DHL or UPS, but we did not receive it on my table. Good evening to you, Sakinat Giwa. Olayemi is asking me a question. Is it compulsory for the federal government to respond before we declare our nation? Please, I need an answer to that. I'm sure you will get an answer in the comment section. So Olayemi is asking, Mr. Koike, my question is it compulsory for the federal government to respond before we declare? So I'm asking a couple of questions and I want us to take note of those questions. That's another question that have come through. The first question I've asked is, do you think that the federal government will dialogue with us? For those of us that are campaigning for the Yoruba nation, which is our right under the declaration or the declaration on granting of the independence to colonial countries and people, which was adopted on December 14, 1960, General Assembly Resolution 1514. That's the document with me right there. Iya De Donye, thank you so much, and every single one of you that have joined us. Drizzy first says, if the Nigerian government are wise enough in this modern age, they should do the right thing, let the Yoruba go. Do you think it's going to be that easy to let the Yoruba people go and the Biafra? Keep your comment coming on all the social media. I'll be reading them, and trust me, I'll read them out. Taufik, well done, Koiki. No, going back Yoruba Nation now. Keep all the comments coming. I'll be reading all your comments. And I guess we have so much comment on the Star Radio UK Facebook page as well. Let me get those out quickly. Okay, it's just a love by Adeboye Adeyeye. Owolabi Adam says, well done, Mr. Koiki. Yoruba Nation now, no going back. Oloyede Buhari Oniso. I'm sure not, according to Ayodele. Samuel Idowu, Yoruba Nation now, Owolabi Adams, well. Clement Taiwo says, Buhari would never dialogue with the Yoruba Nation. He has King Pharaoh's heart. So, if the government of President Muhammadu Buhari do not dialogue with us, what do you think we should do next? Since everybody has agreed that it seems that the federal government is not going to have any dialogue with us, they're just going to ignore us as if, the letter was never received. Everybody will just pretend that, we never received that letter and everybody just moved on. Do you think that we should then do something around that?
All around the world.
All around the world is the Star Radio UK. We're all around the world, all around the world, all around the world. I'm asking a question. Good evening to you, Becky. Yaya says we have to commence our mega rally and subsequently declare our nation. Oloyede says declaration straight away. Okay, wow. Quite a lot of people are saying we should declare. Dele BC says, Koiki, you are doing a great job. Continue the job. We love you. I love you all as well. Adeyemi J. Oluwole, I'll read all your comments. Keep those comments coming. God will ease separate ways. Iyalode Ijana Ota. Thank you so much for joining us, Mother. Well done, my brother, White Lion himself. Ǹjẹ́ tí President Muhammadu Buhari ìjọba ọba dá wa lóhùn, kí ni ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ ká tún gbé lẹ́yìn ìgbà yẹn? I'm asking the question. Becky said, let's declare already, Joe. I want to read more of your comment, and I will get the phone line open, but bear with us. My name is Olayemi Koiki, and this is Star Radio UK. Every Wednesday, this is where I sit. This is where we have the conversation. If I'm running it from the studio in North London or from the studio right here in where we are reporting from, it's still a message to say this is
Star Radio UK.
Once again,
Welcome. Welcome.
This is Star Radio UK.
The best radio show.
Are you ready to turn it up?
UK.
once again, I say thank you so much to my producer. Ǹjẹ́ tí ìjọba Buhari kò bá dáhùn sí lẹ́tà tí ó kújọ́ mẹ́sàn-án tí àwọn bàbá wa Alana, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, wrote to the government, what next and what should we do? Because we're 9 days away before the letter expired. Again, The Yoruba self-determination movement is committed to a peaceful approach. Do you think that the federal government will allow and enable a peaceful approach to this quest for self-determination? Remember that Buhari spoke at the United Nations General Assembly, and part of what Buhari said was, we should allow freedom of speech, value, and cherish the people around the world. Do you think that the government will really do much? Because if President Muhammadu Buhari that spoke at the United Nations General Assembly, but last year he had an issue with Twitter and the government Twitter handle was suspended, and that was on June 4th last year. And the reason for that is because there was a tweet that came out from the government Twitter handle, and that literally means that Twitter literally had to ban that Twitter handle for violating the social media platform guideline. Tíjọba Buhari ò bá dá wa lóhùn, what next and what should we be doing? Good evening to you, Babawa Oderinde. There was a time when the most important event at this assembly was the speech by the world leader, but it's no longer that. Social media have actually taken over. And likewise,
This is Starr Radio UK.
Starr Radio UK has also taken over the mainstream media. Follow us on all our social media handle. Yes, he already spoke already today. We thought they were going to change it, but President Muhammadu Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has already spoken at the United Nations General Assembly today. And part of what he said was, and I quote, Mr. Buhari added that the world powers must come together to defend freedom of speech while upholding other values that we cherish. Last year, Mr. Buhari clamped down on Twitter in response to a deleted tweet. Imagine Joe Biden suspending Twitter in America. Imagine Liz Truss suspending Twitter. Justin Trudeau suspending Twitter. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think would happen if all this is happening? But Nigerian government continue to behave as if nobody can do anything to them. Nigerian government continue to misbehave as if nobody can touch them. It's not just the Nigerian government, even some of your state governors are operating as if nobody can touch them. The Buhari-led administration has seen a shrinking of civil space due to multiple infringement of the freedom of speech. The Lekki toll gate is an example. The Oyigbo is an example. So many Biafrans have been kidnapped and killed just because they are putting on an outfit that represents who they are. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, was actually kidnapped by the same government that is now talking about freedom of speech. Buhari is talking about freedom of speech, but yet Buhari is not doing the needful when it comes to freedom of speech and cherish the values or upholding the other values. Because if the government is upholding the value, millions of Nigerians, as 15 million children, will not be used as child labor. 20 million Nigerian children are out of school up to university level. Last year, President Muhammadu Buhari APC government clamped down on Twitter in response to a deleted tweet which violated the social media platform guideline. The federal government announced the suspension of Twitter in June last year in the country on 4th of June after the social media giant deleted a post by President Muhammadu Buhari. And the reason for that was because that tweet violated the company's abusive behavior policy. By June 5th, the suspension was carried out by the telecommunication companies in Nigeria, witnessing Twitter was shut down across all platforms. It lasted for 222 days. This is the same government that has now traveled to United Nations talking about freedom of speech and upholding values. The Twitter ban lasted for 222 days, attracting condemnation from citizens and international community, further damaging Nigerian democratic and right credential on the global scale. Canada, United States of America, United Kingdom all spoke against the ban, citing infringement on the constitutionality protected freedom of speech. Now Buhari is talking about freedom of speech at the United Nations General Assembly. No be juju be that. Ṣé kò ń ṣe juju nìyẹn? Ìjọba tí kò allow yín kẹ́ lo Twitter for 222 days. Ó shut down Twitter yín. Ó wá ń sọ̀rọ̀ freedom of speech and upholding value at the United Nations. And you think that this is a government that upholds values. And the question is Nigeria for you? Is Nigeria working for you? Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK.
All around the world. Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
The best radio show. The best radio show.
A government that banned Twitter for 222 days is now talking about freedom of speech. Amazing time in our world. Grace says, now proper juju be that. Make I tell you now, my people. A government will shut down your Twitter for 222 days. The president don't travel go United Nations. He gonna talk about freedom of speech. No be juju be that. This is
Starr Radio UK.
If you just join me for the first time, this one that they call Niger Voices. But I go use this one also welcome you.
Welcome.
My name is Olayomi Koiki. I'll be your host for tonight. The question where they asked at the beginning be say, shall we continue with being part of Commonwealth and be make we opt out? What about the people who say they don't want to be part of Nigeria? What thing go happen with them and the Commonwealth? Like the Biafra people, the Yoruba people, and the Middle Belt will won't come up from Nigeria. Nigeria is literally really going through a turmoil. Good evening to you, Fatai. Yoruba nation not going back. Ǹjẹ́ ìjọba Nigeria máa dá wa lóhùn? I mean, a government that shut down your Twitter, it can't travel from Nigeria, from Abuja, it go United Nations, if they talk about freedom of speech. Nobody do be that. And they ask my people where they for back home. This country where you know they call Nigeria, your government shut down your Twitter for 222 days. Your president can't go United Nations now. He can't they talk about freedom of speech, upholding other value. Even America complained then. Canada complained then. Balogun, good evening to you. Oluremi say, na juju be that. Let's read some of your comment quickly. traveling. The comment is becoming very fast. Prince OJ. Yeah, that's a very abusive word. I'm not going to read that out. That one is too much for me to read out here. 70 years old man. No be juju be that. I mean, Buhari that shut down your Twitter, because it is the government of Buhari that shut down the Twitter, not your state government, not your governor. It is Buhari and Lai Mohammed shut down your Twitter. Buhari can't travel now. He can't go United Nations. If they talk about freedom of speech and upholding value, which value? Value where they're not giving Nnamdi Kanu to go to the court in Kenya and defend himself, but he was kidnapped. They kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu, bring him back for Nigeria as if they don't collect something. Now they are hiding him inside their DSS custody. They can't bring him to the court. Nobody do be that. Do you think that we are living in one country? It's just a question I'm asking those of you that are watching us from around the world. Probably maybe some of you don't understand what is going on. Good evening to you, Baba Fatai Ogumefun. So much comment. 70 years old man at your daily talk show. Can we start calling? Okay, I'm going to take the calls now. So if you're actually watching us on Instagram, you would have to join us on the Koiki Media Instagram page, because I want to take some calls. And the number to call, please just call the number that we're giving out. Do not try to call any other number. And if you want to speak our language, please go ahead. Yoruba language is a beautiful language. English is a borrowed language. +4474 044059117. So if you're watching me right now on the Instagram on Olayomi Koiki, you need to join us on Koiki Media so that we can allow calls to come through. Thank you so much once again. We love you all. So let me take some of your calls. Remember all my questions, but please, we will not allow any abusive language being used on the platform. So if you're going to use those language, please do not call. But you are more than welcome to talk about the issues that we are discussing, and that I will tolerate that. But please do not call and use abusive language. Let's go straight to my first caller. And I say, good evening and welcome to Nigeria Voices on Starr Radio UK. And this is how I'm going to welcome you as well.
Welcome.
Mr. Koiki Ekweto.
Ètò nìyẹn, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò tá à ń pè ní Nigeria Voices lórí ìkànnì Starr Radio UK.
Mo kí yín gidigidi mo kẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pẹ́ kú rọ́jú. Nígbà pàtó mi ò blame Buhari àtàwọn gọ́wọ́mẹ̀ntì ẹ̀, mi ò blame wọn. Àwa ara wa tá a jọmọ Yorùbá ni mo fẹ́ blame ní àṣálẹ̀ yìí. Níwọ̀n ìgbà tí Buhari lè wá sí United Nations, ó lè wá sọ ẹgbẹ́ tó lè wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa freedom of speech, ó lè wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa value. Kí ni value àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá? Education. More close the school down for the past 6 to 9 months. Ọmọ tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń wá school ní òkè òkun bí ó dẹ̀ ń graduate. And we are talking about value where you are undermining and stepping other tribe, other people, other less privileged. Mr. Koiki, I'm afraid I might denounce myself from being a Yoruba, because it looks as if we are cowards. It looks as if we don't know what we are doing. With the level of our education, I don't even know if I'm a bastard or you're my lady, I'll be on more. Mr. Koiki, am I just on you? See, Baba to declare Yoruba nation after the expiration of 30 days of Buhari. Come back to the Mr. Koiki, I'm a bastard. And I'm sorry, other Yorubas were coward and we are not. Will become a bastard.
Before
respond. Are we gonna continue our life like this? I'm fucking tired.
Sorry for that language, those of you that are listening to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to my brother. Please let us refrain from using the vowel language. Remember, we are transmitting. Please do not call any other number apart from the number that we have put out. Please, we are begging you, do not call any other number. And also reduce any other set you're listening to. We don't want to listen to any other thing at the background. And as you're coming in, I'm going to use this to welcome you. About mute the background there, please. I'm begging you. Anybody that is calling in, please reduce the background. If not, you switch it off completely. You're welcome. Amen.
Àwọn United Nations ṣèbí wọ́n lè sọ pé àwọn ò gbọ́ gbogbo atrocity tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìlú Nàìjíríà. Wọ́n lè sọ pé àwọn ò rí gbogbo ariwo tá à ń pa ní màá tí wọ́n lè sọ pé àwọn ò rí. Wọ́n lè sọ pé gbogbo ariwo ń pa káàkiri wọ́n lè sọ pé àwọn ò rí. Ṣé president nìkan ló ní àṣẹ láti sọ̀rọ̀ ni? Àbí tí president bá lọ bẹ̀ ṣó máa sọ nǹkan tó ń ṣe ni? Ó máa sọ fún wọn ní ṣe bó máa kún rẹ̀ lébẹ̀ ni. Ó yẹ kí àwọn náà mọ̀ pé ó yẹ káwọn pe àwọn citizen bíi méjì àbí mẹ́ta kán máa bá wọn kán máa sọ̀rọ̀ níbẹ̀ nítorí wọ́n rí gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí wọ́n ò dáhùn. Èmi ò mọ nǹkan tí àwọn UN èmi mọ nǹkan tí wọ́n dúró fún mo sọ́rí o. Because wọn ò lè máa rí gbogbo ikú táwọn èèyàn ń kú àti wọ́n ṣe ń pààyàn yìí. Ó jẹ́ wípé president nìkan yẹn náà fẹ́ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu ẹ̀. Wọ́n rí gbogbo ẹ̀ náà most ẹ̀ wọ́n rí wọn ò dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ sí wọn sọ nǹkan kan. And àwọn èèyàn tiwa tó jẹ́ àwọn èèyàn tó jẹ́ alágbára ní ìlú Nàìjíríà owó ni wọ́n ná ń ta sí so àwọn náà wọ́n follow president pé àwọn máa lè rí owó lọ títí. Èmi ò wá mọ nǹkan tí nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe mi mọ́ àwọn ọmọ asúnsì láti bí oṣù bíi mẹ́sàn-án ọmọ ọlọ́mọ tí jókòó sílé wọn lè láwọn ò gbọ́ náà wọ́n ń gbọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ wọn kàn fẹ́ dá wa lóhùn ní so a lè máa tó dè wọn a lè dúró ẹni tó bá máa kó àpò ẹni tó bá máa kó àpò mú sọ́ọ̀rì.
All right. Eshegoni, thank you so much. Please, once again, as we're calling, let us, reduce the set. Eshegoni Yawa. And I also welcome you using my my welcome message here, but please do not call my other line apart from the studio line that I've put out. The number to call is +44 7404 405917. That number will allow you to come through to the studio, but please do not call any other number if you're listening to us. Hello, good evening, caller, and you're welcome to Nigeria Voices. Good evening, before you talk, let me welcome you properly and say,
welcome.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for your good job. Thank you so much. We appreciate what you are doing. You are not only educating the Biafra Duduas, but also the Biafrans. Okay. I am one of your fans.
Thank you so much.
Thank all of you that are doing the great work. More grace to able. You see, I want to tell this to our people. For referendum, okay? And it is our right. Nigeria has expired in 2014, and anybody who claims that he or she is God-fearing leader, and the person is not honoring the voice of the people, that person is a liar. The majority of the people has been calling for referendum, and it is our right to conduct referendum before any election. And if they fail to conduct referendum, we have no option than to declare our already existing nations before this fraudulent one Nigeria come to existence. Okay, so we don't beg anybody to agree for us to have referendum. If they want, fine. They don't want, we're going to declare our nations.
Okay.
And no amount of bullets, no amount of bomb will stop the exit from 2023. Okay? We are angry, we are bitter, and if they want to know how bitter we are, let them stop us come 2023.
Okay.
We're going to fight them with our teeth. Okay. Even our teeth, I'll fight their crocus and swallow it.
Okay. You said something that really, really powerful there. Those Nigerians that are still clamoring for one Nigeria, what do we say to those kind of Nigerians?
My brother, see, let me tell you something. I can tell you that 99% of Biafrans are against one Nigeria. What about what is there? So some of the let me say this now. Whether you are Duduwa or you are Biafran, I want you to be very, very sure that not all who bears your name, speaks your language, are Yoruba person or Biafran person. There are many Fulanis who they're born in our division, internal hate. So I know that they're in government, they're in police, they're in army. Not everybody who wears their uniform, bears your name, reads your language, is discontented. I'm telling you this.
Thank you.
I'm saying this wrong to know those who will listen to.
All right.
Anybody who is telling you to suspend Nigeria for 1 more year, the person is more evil than Satan.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that is our Biafra. And I always say something in, and I think I'm reading your comment, Arole Odudua. Let's be careful. The British created Nigeria in 1914, not the the Igbo people. These issues that we have, that the Igbo did a lot of issues in 1960 and all that. I don't want to buy into that argument. My own argument is the British Empire created Nigeria, and I'm not sure they consulted the Igbo people, neither did they consult the Yoruba or the Arewas. Our mother Kemi Bello, if you are trying to call, the number to call is the one that I've been putting out there. The number is +4474405917. That is the only number that I can pick. I cannot pick any other number because I will not be able to hear any one of you. So this motion that we keep putting out all the time, that the Igbo destroy the western region or whatever that you have at the at the back of our mind. Let us be very, very careful. The British government never consulted. Who gave the British the audacity to put us together in the first place in 1914? I'm not sure they consulted any Igbo kingdom that they were going to put us together, and the Igbo kingdom agreed and aligned with that amalgamation. So the issue of whatever happened after that in 1960 is irrelevant. And we got to be very careful. It's completely irrelevant because we were a kingdom when they came in and they met us as a kingdom, and they destroyed that kingdom, almost destroyed. You can hear that even the emir, I just told you right now, wants the British government to return their stolen artifact because we didn't give it to them. It was actually stolen. And I think I saw that in one of the headlines in the papers right now. Let me see if I can get that. So let us be very, very careful. I understand a lot of things happened during the Western region. I understand a lot of things happened after the independence. But I am not talking about prior to the independence. I am talking about, or before, after the independence. I am actually looking at the situation that happened before the independence. Because like I said, no one was consulted. I'm going to take your calls. Just bear with me. I want to see if I can pick that. And I think it was one of the emir. Yes, right here. Kebbi emir begs. How can we be begging the British government to return a stolen artifact? The emir explained that some of the old artifacts went missing during the colonial rule in the kingdom. This is on the paper today. Let me share that with you so that you can read that as well. And let's take more calls. Once again, you're listening to Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go to the next caller. Hello. And let's mute the background, please. I don't want to hear any other sound. About mute background, please.
Okay, sir.
And let me welcome you once again.
Yes, sir.
Now go ahead. Ami.
Then kejì mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn leaders wa ṣe rí ó dàbí ìrọ̀lẹ́ mo ń gbọ́ kínní kan pa àwọn ọba tó ní kẹ́nìkan máa wá ṣe protest or rally, so I was surprised at that.
Okay.
Meanwhile ṣe mọ̀ ìkòkò tí wọ́n ń gbóná bí tẹlomi ò kàn gbóná, they are less concerned. Then kejì ni pé ṣe rí in this country we are àwọn èèyàn wa kàn lójo ní. Àmọ́ mo ti gbọ́ program kan tẹ́kọ̀ ṣe tí màá yẹn sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní Yorùbá ti lójoojú, that is bàbá Èkìtì ó lá lójo gan, and that's just the truth, and we are cowards.
The British, or Elisuru, the British government never wanted the Western region to work.
Yes.
So all this motion that the Igbo destroyed the Western region, the British government knew what they were doing. They never wanted anything to work because they did not give us the right independence. Because that election of 1959 was rigged by the British, colonial rule, during this era. Go ahead, caller.
Yes. So, in fact, that's just the truth. We are cowards. And secondly is that,
Yeah, Buhari already spoke at the United Nations.
Language for you that you should back out. One person or sit the Fulanis and the Hausas, they say they own the country, the Nigeria. So let us leave it for them. What is of Africa man law? That's just the truth. And when you walk home,
yes, please, yeah, because this is Starr Radio UK. Please, let's bear that in mind. Yeah.
They were just wow. They cannot think deeply.
Okay.
I could remember, was it 4 years ago? Buhari categorically told all this international monetary fund, we can't focus on Northern.
Yeah.
That they should focus on the Northern. So at least he's trying to tell us that the Northerners are more special to other parts of the country. So with no. This person is telling us with the situation of things, we are free to go if we want to go.
Okay.
This is what he's speaking already.
Okay.
What to move one pound when you want. And you know, that's not the one Nigeria. What Nigeria for what? What Nigeria for what? Is it by force? It's not by force. They are telling us to go. What is so far? Come on, law. But I want your wife.
Okay.
They don't think about the masses. They think of themselves and their family.
Yes, you're right.
So, they cannot use their brain. I was surprised as there. Full Yoruba nation. I myself, with the people I'm doing, anywhere, somebody say protest. I love to give them pure water, look at you. From my own pocket. I'm a fool when you're yes. For that, like nation.
Eshegoni.
The benefit that the masses supposed to have, we don't see it from them. Or no. Go see good education. Go see after strike for how many months?
Yeah.
Now they don't bloody care.
Yeah. Oh, and it's not and the government is now actually talking about the value system. You know, that for me is, you know, like a juju that, because a 70-year-old man, you know, went to United Nations and is now talking about, you know, upholding a value system. And what are the value system of Baba Ulawo? You know, the value system of somebody like Baba Ulawo was an education system that works for the people. But Buhari has gone to United Nations. He has actually spoken today, and you'll be listening more as well from the Yoruba world media. They're going to be doing a lot of analysis on that as well. He's talking about, you know, value system. He's talking about, you know, defend freedom of speech while also upholding other value system.
Hello?
Mo ní kí lẹ rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ tí Buhari sọ tó sọ pé value system àti upholding, you know, the freedom. Can you still hear us? Okay, it looks like we lost that caller, and I'm just going to let him go. The number to call is still on the screen there, +44. Oh, okay, I think the caller is still there, but we can't hear him, you know, is the problem. Anyway, we got this message already. Let me take the next caller. And those of you that do not understand what they are saying, I will work on that. We'll try and resolve that, and I'll explain what is going on. But yes, I understand there's been issue in the 60s after the independence, after the, you know, the Western region that was dissolved or whatever happened. But did the British give us any reason why they merged us together in 1914? Did they consult anybody? Who gave them that audacity? I have a new caller, and this is the way I welcome my caller.
Welcome.
Go ahead, caller.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
British $800 and something pound. Man try láti lays every 100 years. So kí ni mo fẹ́ sọ sí ni pé àwọn èèyàn wo mọ bí nǹkan ṣe máa work àdẹ̀mọ́ right wa.
Okay.
Oye, then ṣé ní gbogbo nǹkan tí Buhari sọ yẹn. Ó fún wa ní upper hand ni.
Okay.
Because this thing,
freedom.
So taba fi ṣe rally ní sí kò ní síjà.
That is what we're saying.
Okay.
So ìjà tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn, we need to escalate that so that the United Nations will see. The woman come with a United Nations more. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
It doesn't work like that because only Nigerian woman present nǹkan tó bá ní fún wọn. Kò tí ì sí ìjà ní Naija, báwo lẹ ṣe ní kí wọ́n dá sí anything.
Okay.
You know, so listen, Buhari sign agreement because we get member United Nations pé there is the right to self-determination.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But cowardness, that's the only thing they not support.
Okay.
In the sense that we don't know our right because.
So in that believe way, because a lot of people are not answering my question. Once again, this is
Starr Radio UK.
In that Nigerian government my response to letter. We are just 9 days away before this letter will expire. In that Nigerian government my respond.
Because you won't respond. If you know your right, you should do the next thing.
Okay.
And the matter people United Nations ambassador in Nigeria.
Yes.
So Nigeria is peaceful.
Okay.
According to them.
Okay.
So we need to come out.
Okay.
Just come out like something masses about civil disobedience.
Okay.
Civil disobedience, ambassador no Nigeria is at war.
Okay.
So, freedom to speech, self-determination, sign.
Yeah.
United Nations only support it. You don't have right to law matter.
Okay.
People.
Okay. All right.
So when they go to resolve that stage,
okay.
Respond.
Okay.
That stage, whoever to get president Nigeria respond.
Before again, one more question. Yoruba and this is the content of the letter. The Yoruba self-determination movement is committed to a peaceful approach to achieving our objectives through negotiation with the government of Nigeria.
Excellent. Kerry, won't misinterpret it. But then because to say, they don't say people are sign self-determination. It doesn't work like that. Exercise the right. How are you going to exercise your right? We don't have power to fight, but come out and say, no, I am not agree.
Good evening to you, Mrs. Ojora Elizabeth. Welcome on board to Starr Radio.
So
okay.
I really support the mega rally.
Okay.
I want to see UN.
Yeah.
I want to share rally UN.
Yeah, building, yes.
They didn't know that those are our rights, our power. Because somebody understand the context below. If you talk to my work, woman will put any one performance about when you are protesting.
Okay.
Last year, I want Buhari who bribe one nation. Why was that? So we need to get this thing right because I work on here want to follow diplomacy. So we shouldn't do nothing. It doesn't work like that. Diplomatic
okay. All right. Because
I say, I just don't know. Cowardness, okay. You will be suffering and you are still managing yourself. We are suffering and
suffering and smiling. All right.
It has to stop. It has to stop because what you against you. Okay,
good evening to you, Mrs. Yetunde Obasonya. Yeah.
Oh, you can't wait.
èèyàn jáde síta Nàìjíríà ni pé bàbá ìparọ́ mọ́ wa.
And we'll say good evening to you, Balogun or last show. Good evening. All right, Eshegoni, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go because of our time. Please, if you're trying to call, do not try to call my other line. You want to only call the studio line. And this is how we're going to welcome the next caller.
Welcome.
We have to give him 3 because he's a regular on Starr Radio UK, and we now have Bishop Adesina live with us all the way from Lagos. Good evening to you and welcome to Starr Radio UK.
Thank you. Hello, Koike. Well done.
We can hear you. Egbo's okay.
All right. Thank you very much. First, I want to talk about the man that talked about Fulani already mixed with us, speaking our different languages. It is true. It is true. This particular week, I found I met with a particular young Fulani guy. I thought he's a Yoruba already. In fact, I thought he's a Yoruba. He's a student. So when I was not telling him that, but you are Yoruba, don't you understand Yoruba? He now said he's a Fulani, he's not Yoruba. And I said, Fulani, okay, from which state? It is state. Immediately I was aggressive at him. I said, shut up. Is a Fulani state? How will you say you are a Fulani and you are saying you are a Ekiti state? Which state are you from? You now say he's from Gombe. And I say, hey, you are just talking. Because Ekiti is not Fulani nativity. It's Yoruba nativity. So when I got that statement, that is true. They are mixing and they want to try to create that kind of ethnic confusion. We know ourselves and they've already failed in that. That cannot work. Number 2 is that the issue concerning Baba letter to Buhari, somebody said that you are asking that if Buhari can deny that he didn't see any letter. No, he cannot deny.
Okay.
Reason is because Baba did not only send letter to the presidency. I know a technocrat that called Baba and told him, and I know Baba obeyed the instruction. Baba also wrote to the National Assembly.
Okay.
They didn't copy National Assembly. They wrote directly to the President of National Assembly of Nigeria.
Okay.
So that is the state. That is the legislative arm. They know about it. So Buhari can't even deny. If not, the House will remind him. Except if they want to be silent about it. Now, let me now finally make my statement. Is that in the letter, the content of the letter stipulated the period, which is to the end of September 2022. Quickly.
Okay.
Baba Akintoye has technically declared Yoruba nation.
Okay.
People are just looking for ceremonial declaration. No. Frame. Immediately September 2022 elapses, Yoruba nation has been declared. So anybody can perform that ceremonial declaration referring back to Baba letter on expiration of September 2022. So we don't need a ceremonial declaration. Officially, Yoruba nation has been declared technically from Baba. So anybody can pick it up from there.
Okay.
And we defend our land. We defend our land. That's it. So that's why we are expecting Baba Sunday Igboho ko gbori wọlé.
Okay.
If Baba ti gbori wọlé, anybody tó bá fumble, we will treat them fuck up.
Okay, let's be mindful of the language.
We will treat them fuck up. Yeah, let's just leave it that way. And we have the right to do so. We will now refer back to Baba letter at the expiration of the date. Yoruba nation has technically been declared already.
Wow. Once again, for our audience, let's say sorry about that language there again. Wow. Did you get that angle that Bishop Adesina just gave us right now? That is something that I've never thought of. This letter expired in 9 days. Let's go to the next caller. Again, this is how we welcome our caller into the Star Radio UK.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Nigeria Voices. Ekabo Sorieto.
Yes, okay.
I'm good. You're welcome.
Buhari UN is giving a speech already.
Well, I mean, there could be anything happening. We are not the one controlling the United Nations. That's what we were told. But until we come out we actually saw that he spoke. So, that's got to do with the United Nations planning. We are not the one planning that.
Because I listened to your program.
Oh, yes, that's exactly like I said, Jide get called. Yeah, I mean, they're on the ground in New York. Like I said, anything could have happened. We wouldn't have had any reason for why he spoke or why he wouldn't have spoken. But, it has already happened. He has spoken. We just have to review what he has said. He actually said something, and I think that's what we should review. And the Yoruba World Media will be doing the same thing as well.
Okay, so all the media, they have to talk about it because something has to be done.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Once again, to those of you that are calling us on the Star Radio UK.
I'm calling from America.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I'll give you one more before you go.
Okay.
Well, that was a double one. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì, tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Ọláyọmí Kóìkì. We are live on the Star Radio UK, as you can see. This is the Wednesday edition of the Niger Voices, where we continue to look at the issues surrounding Nigeria and all that, and quite a lot of things happening as well. We have our next caller, and I say good evening and welcome. And this is the way we welcome you as well.
Welcome.
Let's go ahead. Let's hear your view.
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead.
Hello, Professor.
You're welcome.
Professor, the great lecturer. Come on. You are too much, man.
Thank you so much.
You are too much. There are two questions. The first one is in
United Nations.
UN.
It talked about freedom of speech, and it talked about upholding value. I don't know what it means by upholding value. And then the next question is, will the government dialogue with us? Will the government respond to our letters and all that? But go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The first one, because
okay.
Before the election, simple question. He don't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. So, because command disgrace so exchange last year also freedom of speech. So carry out then later, but it is clearly stated the deadline is on the 30th of this September. So, that's in 9 days, 30th of September, right? Reply
okay.
So there's no reply to all the letters that we've written there for the past 2 to 3 years starting off. So final.
Okay.
So by the 30th of September, so that our plans the mega rally that already is on ground will definitely take place because they are broken protocol. If the government has broken protocol, because that is the language of that's the language of United Nations. Go through dialogue, go through protocol, go through diplomacy with your government. And we have followed all the layout by the United Nations to the last point. Now, if they refuse to answer, then we go ahead with our own action, which is the mega rally and so that's the next thing, Tamashe.
Okay.
Because that is what we as a Yoruba nation we have it as a program.
Okay.
So there's nothing going to stop us from not carrying out our own plans.
Okay.
Because we are pulling out from Nigeria, and like we said, we are a nation. So a nation is we have to stand our ground to declare, to do a mega rally, massive. More than 2 million people comes out that day and show for that yes, we are standing and we are taking our stand.
Okay.
So that is it.
All right.
I know definitely that one. They will not answer us.
Okay.
So it was answer if we okay. Because already we have a benefit of doubt. We are giving them a benefit of doubt. Okay, let's see whether they might respond or not.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. One minute.
Yeah.
Okay. What reply? Okay. I want to go. But the day they will give us is going to be December. Okay, December. That's why I negotiate. But why do the December? Come and negotiate. It is impossible. It is impossible.
All right. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank
God
you so
bless
much.
Yoruba nation.
Thank you. I'm going to let him go, and let's hear a little bit from the speech of President Muhammadu Buhari at the United Nations General Assembly.
Mr. President, Heads of State and Government, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, on behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, I congratulate you on your well-deserved election as President of the 77th session of this August Assembly. I assure you of the full support and cooperation of the Nigerian delegation during your tenure. I commend your predecessor, His Excellency Abdullah Shahid, for the many remarkable achievements of the General Assembly under his leadership during these challenging times. May I also congratulate the Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, on his ceaseless and untiring efforts to promote peace, security, and development, very much in line with his exalted role. Mr. President, the first time I could have addressed this August Assembly was in 1984, when I was the military head of state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 31 years later, I had the great privilege to personally address the Assembly in 2015 as the democratically elected president of my country. As I approach the end of my...
All right.
UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
The best radio show.
You can see how crafty it was when I was the military. He never said, a government that he overthrown. You can see how crafty he was. He was able to say that in a sweet way, when I was the military head of state in 1984. But what he did not tell Nigerians and the United Nations is when he actually created a coup and then destroy the civilian government and the democracy that we had there. Let's take the next call. I say good evening and welcome, but this is the best way to welcome you on Starr Radio UK.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Just go ahead, there's no point saying that in your life now, we're busy line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ mú kàn fẹ́ bọ̀ tẹ̀sí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹni tó sọ̀rọ̀ láti lẹ́ka pé bàbá ti declare technically. No. I need it, not technically this time around. We need it. Can't declare fully.
Okay.
Get me?
Okay.
So that's the way we want it. And secondly, I don't know how you will approach the media or whatever, all our leaders. Call the Shishalori radio station, yeah?
Okay.
Because we in Nigeria, it costs us a lot.
Well, the radio will eventually fall through, whether we like it or not. It's just getting closer, because when we get to a stage that we can say, as the rally is going to be even coming up, I believe that any one of us that have the technicality, the know around it, can just put out the radio during the mega rally. It's as simple as that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, then one other thing is the other Yoruba medias, they need to be careful. They should not toy with us this time around, because wholeheartedly, with all our mind and all our heart, that been by one law. So come on, if you watch it, or that be on last time, yeah, don't be a mama.
All right. We're not gonna go into that.
Always tell us positive words.
Okay, all right. I'm sure.
Always tell us positive words.
Okay.
We don't want those negative words.
All right.
So that they should not kill our spirit.
Okay.
So our spirit should be alive.
All right.
So we don't want it. Mama don't pay. Yeah, don't pay. One woman pay. I think from Nigeria, I don't really know. Only affect the mom see because mommy won't listen to go follow up. You won't follow trend the constitution like by Yoruba nation.
All right.
So they should not tell us negative words.
Okay then.
And they should not toy with us this time around.
Okay.
And they can face and let us know what we are doing.
No problem.
So that's my belief. And thirdly, this time around, see Oloye Bambo, CSI. Because I'm on control channel. So
all right. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna. Let's just leave that. I think you have said more than enough. And this is again.
This is Starr Radio UK.
The best radio show.
Well, once again, a very good evening. And yes, we allow you to say whatever is in your mind. That is how it's happened. It's an open conversation. I'm just about 15 minutes away at 8:30. I'm going to be bringing the show down. But she will listen more to the president of the federal. He never said that he had a coup, destroyed the Shehu Shagari, if I'm right. Was it Shehu Shagari that was the democratic elected government in 1984 or 1983? Imagine Buhari, should we listen to it a little bit or should we just let it go? Good evening to you, Ms. Liz Dada. Should we listen to that a little bit more or what do you think? We just let it go. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK. We should listen to it a little bit more. Okay, let's listen a little bit more.
4-year term, I am reminded of how much has changed in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world, and yet how some challenges remain. We are now more severely tested by these enduring and the new global challenges, paramount among which are conflicts increasingly being driven by non-state actors.
All right, we're going to come back to that. We have a new caller again. Hello, caller, go ahead as we, yes.
Mr. Koiki, early last month, as Uberman.
Yeah.
Is an ambassador from South Africa to America.
I remember.
yes, mo pé máa yẹn, mi ò mọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ ambassador di máa yẹn. Máa yẹn wá ń bèrè situation of Nigeria lọ́wọ́ mo wá explain fún. Ó wá lóun wá àwẹ̀. Ipe what we need is declaration that United Nations has trapped Buhari, that they usually gave him guidelines on what to speak about. That is so important. Infringing freedom of speech and the right for self-determination. Ni wọ́n fi fún ní àyè kó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa self-determination Afghanistan àti other countries tó agitate fún self-determination wọn. Ó dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, which means we Yoruba, Biafra can also agitate for their self-determination because he has come to United Nations to talk about it. Ìjẹ́mọ̀ game tó ṣẹlẹ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí tí wọ́n fi kọ́kọ́ sọ wípé wọ́n máa postpone ẹ̀ kó má sọ̀rọ̀. He was giving guideline on what to talk about. But he diverts. That is why tó ń change it. But he quickly come back. Láìsí yẹn wọn ní fúláì kó sọ̀rọ̀ ní United Nations because they give him guideline on what to speak about. But kò sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. Ìgbà tó ti mọ̀ pé máa kick you out. Ipò wọn ní jẹ́ kó ń sọ̀rọ̀ ní United Nations rárá. And it's going to be a big disgrace on him. That is why they always take a padà láti reframe nǹkan tí wọ́n ní kó kọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. Nǹkan tó ní kó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ is freedom of speech and rights. Value tó ń padà wá force láti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. United Nations is they always support us. They know what is going on. And only what we are waiting for is for us to stand up to declare ourselves. Without us coming out to declare ourselves, we are still deceiving ourselves. And they will fold their hands looking at us. They cannot do anything because Nigeria is a sovereign country. Until the English stood up to say, this is what we want. One of the
okay.
We must have freedom of speech. We must have freedom of everything that is freedomable.
Okay.
Self-determination is part of freedom. Now, nípa value, wọ́n mọ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n, what is step upon our value. So our value, one of our major value is education. One of the about is strike. So kí la wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀? What we are waiting for is declaration and mega rally. Thank you very much.
Wow. I couldn't have added to what the last caller have said. Once again, it is just coming up to 19 minutes past. And I say good evening once again to each and every one of us. And the next caller, let's also say,
welcome.
Hello, Mr. Boyke.
You are now on.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Hello, Mr. Boyke.
Ètò ni ẹ.
Mi ò lè wá kó lè wá ju ilé babẹ̀. Ṣẹ́rí ẹ máa fi kíní kan kún program yín. Ṣẹ́rí bàbá ńlá enemies of fear, enemies of progress tó fi àlàyé yìí ò sí. Ǹjẹ́ believe? Bàbá ńlá enemies of progress tó fi àlàyé yìí ò sí. Káwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ká mú fíà ìbẹ̀rù kúrò lọ́kàn wa. Ọmọlúwàbí wa tá a jẹ́ yẹn ti pọ̀ jù. Lágbè sẹ́gbẹ́ kan. Pátápátá náà fojú kù náà kúnná náà tẹ́tẹ̀. Ojú àpò ọ̀gọ́ tó ní ìjà tó dálẹ̀. Ìgbàwọ́ mọ́kù ò ní kú. Ọ̀rọ̀ tèmi bí yẹn o.
So, Eshigoni, and once again, we're just 10 minutes away, and quite a lot of comment is driving very fast. I saw your comment, Mrs. Comfort. Thank you so much. And I guess you. Good evening to you, Mrs. Sharifat Agbabiaka. All our Christians, our Muslims, all our traditionalists across the country. Odua today, good evening to you. Sheyi Biodun, good evening to you. And Balogun Olasho and the rest of you. Yes, we shouldn't believe Buhari he lost his mind. Either Buhari respond to the letter or not, Yoruba nation must emerge. Please, you're only going to be calling the studio line. Any other number, we can't pick it up. Especially, you've got to understand when I say that, even right here in the studio. And if you keep calling, and that means I'll probably just have to, block that number, and then I will have to release that number after the show. Please let us listen to that. I can still take maybe one or two more calls. Let's see if this number doesn't normally come through very well. I think it comes through a little bit, and let's welcome this caller as well.
Welcome.
Hello, caller. Go ahead straight. Hello.
Hello.
Go ahead, and please mute the background there because there's a lot of noise coming back. Ekale. Go ahead straight. We are running out of time. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, any problem in Nigeria ni pé àwọn government wa wọ́n ti create fear sínú ayé àwọn ènìyàn.
Okay.
So we cannot able àwọn èèyàn wọn lè think láti ṣe nǹkan tó tọ́mọ̀ because èrò yẹn ó ti wà nínú ayé gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn.
Okay.
So nígbà tó yẹ kó mọ right wọn gan lórí right wọn yẹn still wọ́n ti ń bẹ̀rù lórí ẹ̀ náà.
Okay.
And mo máa ń sọ gangan àwọn Fúlàní tá à ń sọ yìí àwọn ò bẹ̀rù láti gba ilẹ̀ wa. But kí ló dé tó jẹ́ káwa tó tún ilẹ̀ gan à ń bẹ̀rù nígbà ká gba ilẹ̀ wa padà lọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn burúkú wọ̀nyí.
Okay.
So sá nǹkan tá a nídìí ní mẹ́gàrà ni ẹ̀dá nídìí so that ká gba ilẹ̀ wa padà.
All right.
And we believe God will collect our land from them.
All right. Thank you so much. As because of my time now, I will not be able to continue with the calls. Please let us. We're just about 6 minutes away, and I want to read again this adopted resolution. What is the role of the United Nations? That's a question a lot of people do ask. And once again,
the best radio show.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
You've been listening to myself on Starr Radio UK. I'd like to appreciate, the back end team that are working tirelessly, and to all our listeners from every part of Africa, Europe, Asia, and also to my beautiful mother, my family, and the rest of the Yorubas that have been following us carefully. For those of you that are probably a little bit lost in the conversation because a lot of our people that were calling in were speaking one of the most beautiful language known as Yoruba, the majority of them were just emphasizing on, the need for the Yoruba to leave Nigeria, the declaration, the mega rally, and also. We've listened a little bit, I won't go further with that, speech of President Muhammadu Buhari at the United Nations General Assembly, the 77th. You can go and listen to that. But one thing I can tell you, good evening to you, Tony AJ, is that Buhari talked about a couple of things on that floor. And some of what he said is something I'm going to quickly let you understand. He talked about the power of the social media influencers. So that means that, they are aware that, when we talk on the social media, it's no longer a joke. So those of you that are still in the view that when we sit down on the social media, we are wasting our time, we are not wasting our time. We are delivering content, messages, and they are so powerful. And even President Muhammadu Buhari has admitted that at the 77th UN General Assembly. And that's something that we should be happy about. He went on to say that we need to allow freedom of speech. He talked about defending freedom of speech. And I hope by the time that the Yorubas, or probably, as Nigerians continue to demand, especially the Nigerian Student Association, that are going about, in a peaceful means, asking why their universities and polytechnics and higher institutions has been shut down since February 14. We hope the federal government is not going to take a lot of, their freedom from them. Let's go back to the southeast of Nigeria today. The same government that has gone to UN is not talking about the atrocity that the government is committing by its military inside the southeast of Nigeria today. Millions of people are being affected. 15 million Nigerian children are being used as child labor. 20 million Nigerians are out of school. Nigeria remains number 6 in the global terrorism index in the world. Nigeria remains number one, the capital poverty of the world. And this is a government that is saying that we are upholding other values that we cherish. And before we go tonight, in just about 3 minutes, I'd like to appreciate every single one of you that spend the evening with us. Declaration on the granting of the independence to the colonial countries and peoples. This was adopted on the 14th of December 1960 on the floor of the General Assembly, Resolution 1514. The General Assembly, mindful of the determination proclaimed by the peoples of the world in the Charter of the United Nations, to reaffirm faith in the fundamental human being and peaceful, friendly relation based on respect for the principles of equal right and self-determination of all peoples and of universal respect for observance of human rights, fundamental freedom for all without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion. Recognizing the passionate yearning for the freedom in all dependent peoples and the decisive role of such peoples in the attainment of their independence. Aware of the increasing conflict resulting from the denial of or impediment in the way of freedom of such peoples which constitute a serious threat to the world. Considering the important role of United Nations in assisting the movement for independence in trust and non-self-governing territories, recognizing that the peoples of the world ardently desire the end of colonialism in all its manifestations, convincing that the continued existence of the colonialism prevent the development of international economic cooperation, impede the social, cultural, economic development of dependent people, militate against the United Nations idea of universal peace, affirming the peoples may, for their own end, freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law, believing that the process of liberation is irreversible, irresistible, and in that, in order to avoid serious crises, an end must be put to colonialism and all practice of segregation and discrimination associated therewith. Welcoming the emergency in recent years of large numbers of dependent territories into freedom and independence, recognized, solemnly proclaim the necessity of bringing to a speedy, unconditional end colonialism in all its forms and manifestation. And to this end declares that the subjection of the peoples to aligned subjugation, domination, and exploitation constitute a denial of fundamental human rights, is contrary to the Charter of United Nations and is impediment to the promotion of world peace and cooperation. All peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they are freely determine their political status, freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Number 3, inadequacy of political, economic, social, or educational preparedness should never serve as a pretext for delaying independence. Number 4, all armed action or repressive measures of all kinds directed against dependent people shall cease in order to enable them to exercise peacefully, freely, their right to complete independence and integrity of their nationality territory shall be respected. Number 5, immediate steps shall be taken in trust and non-self-governing territories of all other territories which have not yet attained independence to transfer powers to the people of those territories without any conditions or reservation in accordance with their freely expressed will, desire, without any distinction as to race, creed, or color, in order to enable them to enjoy complete independence and freedom. Number 6, any attempt aimed at the partial or total disruption of the national unity and the territorial integrity of a country is incompatible with the purpose, the internal affairs of all states, and respect for the sovereign rights of all people and their territory integrity. Once again, You've been listening to myself, Niger Voices on.
This is Starr Radio UK.
The best radio show.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
And I say thank you so much. And this is how far we can go tonight. I'll be back again same time next week, Wednesday. But you can also tune into my program, that I do outside the Starr Radio UK. You can follow me on all my social media and on Koiki Media, or you can also follow me at 11 o'clock with the team here where we discuss issues around the world. But at 11 o'clock, I come in here and I discuss everything about Nigeria, the update. Thank you so much to my producer once again, Mr. Frank David and Mr. Archie, and the rest of you that have been supporting us, behind the scene as well. I couldn't have done this without our beautiful listeners from around the world. My name is Ola Yomi Koiki, and as I'm going to be leaving you again tonight, not with the Buhari speech, trust me, I don't think we want to listen to Buhari's speech again. I think we should listen to something else. I think we should listen to, our beautiful sister, Janet, that have been giving us some powerful. We enjoy some of our music, and I think I should play Ori Lady. And I'm going to be, giving that back to the studio. But before I do so, once again, we'd like to appreciate all our listeners, from around the world as you're watching us. It costs a lot of data, to listen to so much. But I'm sure that, in no time, when we have a system that works, you'll be able to connect your device. I think we have a lot of devices that is connected to the internet. But we can only have this opportunity if only we all agree to these. Àníri jù báyìí lọ ní orí ètò ti alẹ́ tí a pè ní Starr Radio UK, and I will now hand over back to the Starr Radio UK management, and I say ó dàbọ̀. It's been a long day. I'll be back again next week for more. Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. All right, you can take over. All right. ìyá yìí tó gẹ́. Thank you so much once again. All right, everyone. That's how far we go tonight. Thank you so much. I'll be back again, definitely, next week, Wednesday. Yoruba Nation, the shit old country called Nigeria. Nigeria, my sister. You don't know body, but lie. Anybody suffering in Nigeria, my sister. You roll any and look body. You roll nobody. Whether I think to today, then Yoruba Nation for life. Oh, Baba Dami, Ajasola one. All right, so I think Lolewa, Itashi, Lale, Adupelo Ogoboyin. Ever been into Barai Wale? Sometimes it's always like that. It's a busy. Yoruba World Media is already going to be on. I'm sure they'll probably be on. I'll be joining them on my way home. Says that the network. Buhari ni kò sọ pé òun gba ìjọba by coup. These people, they are all jokers. Anyway, let's end everything. And I say thank you so much to those of you that have joined us. Let's play this one. Look.
Hi guys, this is your friend Urush from Segwave. Segwave is a very fun app that is used for people.
Thank you so much. Ó dàárọ̀. Kò sí ṣó lọ́mọ lálẹ́ yìí o. Lọ́lé mi lọ sùn ní o. Gbogbo ẹ̀dẹ̀ tó dọ̀la lágbára Elédùmarè. Ẹni bá ní ànídé là ní bá. Mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ. Mo kí gbogbo yín pátápátá. Alamúra báyìí Nàìjíríà ọlọ́pàá máa dẹ́ dúró wá nínú ti bàjẹ́. Lóṣì. Ìlú tó ti àlákà. Eléyìí ni màmá kà sí létí lójoojúmọ́. Eléyìí resolution. A máa yọ bẹ̀rù yẹn kúrò lára yín. So, eléyìí ni màmá kà sí létí. Ìdásẹ́. So, yẹn yan mi. Ẹ máa kọ́ dẹ́rù bà wá. Buhari ò lè ṣe nǹkan kan bó ṣe wà ní. Tó bá gbọ́wọ́ kọ́wọ́. Nígbà rálì wa, tá bá lọ gbọ́wọ́ kọ́wọ́. Àgbáyé máa sọ fún wọn pé ọmọ kan yóò ní. I'm just arriving home from work, road uncertain, I couldn't follow up. Okay, you watch it later. Yeah, you watch it later. All right, so you know what? I'm going to end all the broadcast now. Thank you so much. Nishela Son Lagbaro Long. Ati on the right track. We're almost there. So bye for now. Ní àbáwá Nàìjíríà ní sí àwọn aṣẹ́rù kan báyìí. Ẹ máa ní generator níta. Ìmọ̀lá ti tan generator. All right, ẹ̀yin yẹn wá. Thank you so much. Oran Yola Masun. Mo kí gbogbo yín pátápátá o. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. Maize Gold, Yawa Liz Dada, Yawa Leke, and the rest of you all. Yawa Jora. Ayo Deji. So, Odola. Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbẹ̀yìn tẹ́ jáde fún rally ẹ̀ ní Òkìtìpupa. Agége rally on load lọ́wọ́ Friday. Akure Saturday, Ìjẹ̀bú Òde next week. Olagbara. Dáre wá ṣeré èèyàn mi àwọn tèèyàn Koiki Media. Mo kí gbogbo yín o, bye for now.